Hello, my name is Alejandro Madrazo, and in this evidence, I'm going to analyze the Hella Cells case. Henrietta Lacks, a 31-year-old woman, died of cervical cancer, and she unknowingly provided the first human cells to survive under in vitro conditions and replicate indefinitely, creating the famous Hella Henrietta Lacks cell line. But these cells were taken without her consent. Regardless, they have driven major medical and biotechnological research. However, her case has fueled a lot of ethical reforms, leading to consent regulations, for instance, established in the 1974 National Researchers Act. Legally, individuals do not retain property rights over the genetic material once it has been removed. A key example of this is the Moore v. the reagents of the University of California case, where the court ruled that Moore no longer had ownership over the leukemia cells that were taken by doctors over the course of his treatment. Instead, it was argued that the informed consent had served as the only protection that Moore had had, but this was also violated by the doctors who did not inform him of the cells being taken. As well as the Hela case, this reveals a clear ethical gap. Henrietta's cells were taken without any profit for her family or any information. And although no compensation is required by law, the NIH uh, granted the Lax family a role in the decision making regarding the future of the HeLa cells. And this highlights the importance of benefit sharing mechanisms being established since the beginning. Regarding regulations and progress, regulations should seek to legitimize scientific progress and not to stop research from taking place. It should help encourage research while protecting individuals. For instance, documents like the Belmont Report helped establish the four fundamental bioethical principles, those being beneficence, non maleficence, autonomy, and justice. Likewise, there's the Nagoya Protocol, which is a treaty under the Conventions of the Biological Diversity Convention, which seeks to ensure fair and equitable sharing of benefits from genetic resource usage. For instance, contemplating clear informed consent, benefit sharing mechanisms, mutually agreed terms, and community inclusion in the decision making progress. Regarding vulnerable groups, they should be given additional protections to prevent their further discrimination and exploitation. For instance, in the Hela case, the racial and social context most definitely played a part on the lack of consent, which today would be considered a violation of the principles of justice and autonomy, for instance. Furthermore, organisms like the SIOMs specify that children, indigenous people, and marginalized people may only participate under safeguards, that being under appropriate consent, reinforced ethical review, and direct benefits for the community to ensure that no further stigmatization is caused. Likewise, the Code of Federal Regulations in the United States emphasizes on the importance of an inclusion of an additional individual to provide counseling to vulnerable individuals. In conclusion, the HeLa case reminds us that science without transparency can cause harm. Biotechnology must advance in a genuine manner under clear legal margins. And as such, us as future biotechnologists must contemplate ethics and law to prevent further victimization of individuals.